I'll ask you to zoom out a little bit and look at the whole trip. What did you like about the way your team played on this trip? You guys went 2-1, and did you learn anything about your team over the last week here?
Yeah, I think probably big takeaway is just the way we stuck with it, in these tight games. Especially after the first one, it's a close game in Anaheim, and we don't like the results. But we walked out of there feeling like there was some positives too to take away from it. And then you go into these games, which every game's been different, but just being in these close games and the way that we're playing it. Even tonight, you got some key special team situations there at the end, some really good situations for us to be in, for this time of year, and to come out of there with the points again tonight. It's something to build off of, and the season's still really young. We're still in the early stages, but I think that we're seeing some of that foundation being built for what we want to continue to build on.
And even though it was a low-scoring game, I thought there were a lot of chances both ways, especially in the first half of the game. It's pretty wide open. Does that speak to how sharp Tristan was all night?
Yeah, I thought Tristan was awesome tonight. He had to make some big saves early, and you know what to expect coming into this building. They're really dangerous in transition, and so I thought you saw a lot of sequences there during the game where it became a little bit run and gun both ways. We'd be trading chance for chance, but they were dangerous looks going on both sides. I talked about that before. It's something we want to continue to look at, and how we're playing at both ends of the ice. But some big saves, which and some big moments there for him in tonight's game.
Even as long as Sidney's been playing, when he scores on a goal like that, does it just kind of amaze you about how he's able to always kind of just come through with a big play?
Yeah, no, I think every day is something else amazes me. So yeah, it's you see it there. He's just big moments. He's rising up to it, and so it was back and forth there, and it was that was a huge part of the game tonight is getting on the board first, and so that was a big goal, and he finds a lot of different ways to score.
Also, I heard a stat on the Sharks radio. Apparently, whenever Sidney and Malkin score, you guys are almost undefeated. I mean, how big is that when those two guys are able to get on the score sheet?
Oh, I think it's big. I mean, it's they mean so much to this team. They mean so much to this organization, to the city. They've been doing it for together for 20 years with Tanger, and so it's always big. Yeah.
Ben Kendall looked like he was flying out there tonight. What could you say about his play?
Yeah, no, it's another good step for him, and especially against this was a little bit. We knew coming in here this was going to be a little bit of a different type of game for him. Just not just for him, but for him and for Brunik, coming in, I think they're starting to learn now that every night's going to look a little bit different. Every team's going to look a little bit different. Some of them it's going to be heavier, and the games are going to be more kind of that feel of playing in the trenches, and then others are going to feel like more of a track meet. And tonight's game, we had a feeling, and it was a little bit more of that track meet feel. But I thought he did a good job, on both sides of it. I think especially probably he's not getting enough credit for how well he can play there, and how much he's growing away from the puck.
Justin Brazeau seemed to have a lot of puck touches tonight and a pretty good helper. What are your thoughts on his game and how it's coming along?
I think it's been pretty much every night. He's a guy that's earned trust there at both ends of the rink. And he's a guy that we think this is the hope, this is the belief in him, and he's just gone out there and shown it that he's going to be a guy that can be relied on in a lot of different situations, and he's a guy that he's going to be able to go out there and help create offense. And you can see too, it's not a guy his size, you sometimes think, all right, it's just going to be those net front goals, it's not the case. He's shown he can create in different ways. He can create off the rush. He's got great poise, great hands, and so it's been a really solid start for him.